Hi starseeds, it's Opheana and Sikaal here with a beautiful big topic for you today. Our teams, our presences have been talking to us non-stop for weeks and months, and it's a very big and exciting one today. We are cosmic shamans, spiritual life coaches, teachers of universal consciousness, channels, and we are very, very excited about the information that will be flowing through us today in this particular video.
Ooh, yeah,
Ooh-ah.
it's been pounding through us like a fun set of ocean waves.
Yes.
moving through, surfing the waves. So we would like to set the scene of New Earth, set the scene of harmonious group consciousness, set the scene of what is that, what are the guiding principles of New Earth, how do we live with each other, how do we be with each other, what do we do, what is the philosophies, the values, the natural consciousness that we all have. Well, first of all, it's fourth density, so it's a higher consciousness than 3D. It's fifth dimension, if you would prefer to call it that, with a dimension where there is harmony, there is love, there is a basis of we make decisions from love, we make decisions from high frequency. And so there's a lot of respect and honoring of all beings on this new earth. Yeah. Would you agree with that? I'm sure that you would. And so the topic today in relation to this is, on this new earth, would you move down the pathway and for your food go and drop off at a slaughterhouse to collect your meat for the week? Or drop off at the dairy farm where the mother cows are giving their milk that they made for their babies for you. So this video is about becoming a New Earth vegan. And so it's a big subject because there's a lot of controversy in the world about veganism, about vegetarianism, about do you, don't you eat red meat as a spiritual being, what are the high frequency, low frequency foods. And so in New Earth, would you go to a slaughterhouse knowing what goes on in there, the dishonoring of the animals? Probably not. Actually, no, I don't think you would.
It's such a big subject, guys, and the difference between what you may have heard before about the whole energy around veganism, some of you may know what it is, some of you may not even know what that is. What it basically means is, the vegan word means not eating any animals, any animal products. Or using animal products.
Any secretions from animals.
That's the simple version. The guidance we're getting through, as you know, we talk a lot about this new earth. We talk a lot about the consciousness. We're moving into this new earth. And so we're creating a new way of living together that perhaps a lot of other ET societies, a lot of other non-earth societies already use. And one of these things is that we are getting brought through a lot at the moment is guiding principles. Well, how does such a society work? Not what are the rules that everybody has to, like what is the tight rules, but what are the guiding principles to be part of that frequency bandwidth, to be creating in that realm. And one of them is super clear. Like today is a bit of an action video for everybody. There is so much going to be streaming through us, and it's going to be crisscross all over the place, but it's going to have some form of spirit structure, and it's exciting. And the guiding principle, one of them is no more killing and no more suffering. Have a think of that for a moment and say, yeah, of course, that makes total sense. But where most of humanity is veiled, including a lot of you guys listening to this, watching this, is in your daily lives around what you consume and what you use, what you eat and what you use. And we were the same. Now, 2 years ago, we had an intense guidance to look at all sorts of resources around animals and animal cruelty and what we eat and how we eat and all that type of stuff. And when the veil was lifted for us, immediately, not after a little while, but immediately, we decided as a family to go vegan. You can even look back at the videos we've made about that. And so the guidance is really clear now from Spirit, because New Earth, as we said in one of our latter videos, it's here. And it's time for you guys to move into this frequency and to be shown. We're one of the channels to show you guys where in your life you're not aligned. And a lot of people, most people, are not aligned here because they simply do not know the truth. The truth has been well veiled from us around what actually happens with our food. Now, before you turn off this video because you don't want to hear more about this,
no, vegans.
Bear with us, because this is coming from the perspective of New Earth consciousness. It's a different storyline. However, it is actually showing you an area in your lives where you are creating karma without knowing it. You have racked up a lot of karma without knowing it. Now we realize a part of you watching are already vegans, and that's fantastic. And we're also talking to you to help hold the space here with this energy. But we're not coming from the struggles that the veganism has had in a 3D society. We're coming from the new place of New Earth consciousness, where the guiding principles are what we agree to together and how it feels to be there together. The idea is from our teams that we will be presenting to you all the information that they want us to share today, including information through videos and through documentaries in a very concise way as to how you can move yourself through this journey. We will also be going into beliefs that might come up and areas why it's hard, or why and why and why. We'll be going through that. But again, before you switch this video off, bear with us and sit with us through the journey if you can. And if you are honest with yourself that it's okay for you to take in this information. And we're putting out the call through this information, the call to action, not just the call to sitting back and just listening. This is one of those videos that is a call to action, and we've had a few of those along the road, like Starseeds Wake Up Faster. You may remember that one from a few months ago. This is a big one, and the teams are calling forth to this. You know, change doesn't come only by thinking about it. Change comes through actions as well. And we feel once we've shared from this new higher level consciousness perspective this subject matter, that it'll be very interesting for you. It'll be very interesting for you to action this in your life. And you guys are the ones that need to do this. You guys are the ones that feel into how you want to do it. But we are very guided to bring this through to you. If you are listening, you've been guided to tune in and listen. Bear with us and enjoy the ride, because it is a very, very, very fascinating subject matter.
And fulfilling. What a fulfilling
Extremely
ride
fulfilling.
this is. You know, this is, from the perspective of what the teams are talking about, this is one of the number one change that you can assist with on Earth. We won't be going into a lot of details because we're going to share some documentaries that some of you have probably already seen, but we would like to ask you to watch them again to reinforce, to confirm, unless you are, you know, 100% vegan. But if you're a flexitarian and you sort of have a bit of dairy here and there, etc., then rewatch. If you're a vegetarian, we're here to tell you it's one of the biggest illusions on this planet.
Yep.
Because dairy is scary. As ERIN JANUS says, we would like you to watch one of her videos. We'll
go through that a little bit later.
We'll go for a list. Now, dairy and eggs, these are areas that seem, and we've been there. We've had chickens, we've loved them. You know, we get it. There has been such a propaganda being built about that, and we don't want to get too much into those kind of layers. However, there are so many veils and illusions around dairy. Where does dairy come from? Okay, it comes from a beautiful mama cow who makes some milk for her baby. I just get the milk. I don't kill any animals because I don't eat meat. People, what happens to the mother cow when her hips are nearly broken because she's been standing up for a small amount of years just giving milk that she wanted to give her many babies that have been taken away. She goes to the slaughterhouse. All of them, they either just get chucked or they go to the slaughterhouse. They don't go out to pasture. This is the majority. And then even from a higher perspective, would it be the free will of that being when we're talking about liberty and freedom? Would she want to give you her milk? Would she want to be impregnated and so that she would make milk, first of all, have a baby every year or every 10 months or so that she can make milk? Would she choose to do that and then feed human beings, many human beings, and not feed her baby, who is then the majority is taken away straight away or after 2 days, you know, made for veal after 4 months, so that cow is killed, or they are grown with a chain around their neck for a number of months, and then they become a slave like their mother as well, and then they go to the slaughterhouse. So vegetarianism, you know, it's a myth that's been put out there to keep the dairy situation going as well, you know, and as consumers, we're the ones that are asking for this to be supplied, and so we're very intensely asking for you to really make a decision here, because it's karma creating, and dairy, we believe, is worse than red meat. You are asking for these dairy cows to give you milk, and then their meat is taken to places like McDonald's, etc., 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 because their meat's not that good, because they've been very badly used and abused, suffering. And so, you know, when it comes to the supply and the demand, it's up to all of us whether we choose as consumers what we do and how we do it, whether we want to live our life from a choice of taste, the value of taste over the value of these lives, you know, like what is more important to you? Is your taste on this plate for this small amount of time really so important to you in relation to the life of an animal? And what I was getting to is, you know, the beef industry, just the meat, I mean, there's so many things around that as well, you know, they pasture for a little while maybe, and then they just, you know, I mean, we would love for you to watch the videos so that you have the absolute truth, and then you can make a very clean decision.
You know, it's not just us, we would love you, you owe it to yourself.
Yes.
Because you guys are working your butts off with your spiritual practices, or else you wouldn't be watching us. And you wouldn't have been tuned into this channel. You do your meditations, your energy clearing, you do your pillar work, you raising consciousness in all areas. We're telling you this is the one that has been veiled the thickest from you. Why? Because we have been unveiled on it as well. And so we have lifted the veil, and we're not here to bring you a long, depressing video, but we are here to bring this truth through to you, because we are one of the channels where your presence can speak very clearly to you. And so we want you to take this very seriously. Ultimately, it's going to be your call to see what you do once you've listened to everything that we've presented. We've also been clearly guided that it is not our role to present all of the facts to you. There has been a lot of others who have done that very well, and we've gone through pretty much all the documentaries, all of the websites, everything, and we've presented the best order for you to watch through this in a way that you'll be informed, and then you can make your choice. These type of things are choices that can be made immediately. This is not the type of stuff where you need to get a little bit of guidance on, or maybe a little bit later, or you'll put it in the I'll do this a little bit later category. if that is something that is the first thing that comes through to you, you must know that we're here to tell you the truth, that you're racking up a lot of karma there, because deep down inside you have felt this stirring, as had we. And then when it was our time, when we needed to investigate, like this is your time, your call to action to investigate and make the decision. One of the big illusions that we didn't know but now know so deeply is that animal protein, animal products are not needed to sustain your human body. In fact, if anything, they are detrimental, proven through many studies, which we will give to you.
The biggest diseases.
The biggest diseases are all connected to animal protein, so you don't need it. And then, you know, one of the big reasons is taste. And what we say is, well, is your taste more important than life? It is not. And this doesn't fit with a New Earth society, you may imagine, so it doesn't sit with that frequency bandwidth. All of you are here on missions. Most of you are starseeds, Lightworkers. You're here to be of service to the whole and create a better world. Well, this is one where there is so much veiling and everything has been covered up so well and so heavily programmed in so many ways. You owe it to yourself to really go there, because you'll be surprised. And the good thing as well is for that part in your mind, because we know all the layers that is worried about not having the same tastes. All of the stuff that you would like to taste with meat products is available as a vegan version, and they're pretty much equal in taste now, because that industry has come a long way.
Lighter,
and they're actually good for your body. So
stop having nightmares.
Some of the things that we'll do today as well is go into some of the beliefs. We work a lot with beliefs that will come up for you guys as to why you can't do this, or it's not your time, or all that type of stuff.
It's part of my tradition and culture.
Exactly, yeah. Or it's just what I do. It's just how we've always done it. All of these type of things. Now the sources will present to you also cover all of those reasonings that people have and that people need to keep things veiled. But you guys that are at a consciousness level now where it's time to pop this bubble. And trust us, you're not going to miss out. You're only going to gain from this. So, you know, move through that with us. Maybe it's nice to present the sources.
Yeah,
or did you want to say?
Well, I'd like to just add one thing. You know, one of the big things that have happened, and this is one of the nice things you do see in some of the videos that we're going to share with you, that other people have created, is the desensitization of children.
Yes.
As we grow up, we are desensitized from caring about farm type animals, because a little 3-year-old just will do anything to save an animal, right? But get them at 10 years old, they've been programmed that that's just how it is for our survival. We're a higher species, and so these beings have chosen this. These beings are here for our food. They get a good life for their time, and then we choose when it's time for them to be done. And then we eat their flesh, and that's okay. It's not, you know, a little baby sheep, it's lamb. It's not a cow, it's beef. It's not a little piglet, it's bacon. It tastes very yummy, it's very good for you, blah, blah, blah. You need the calcium from the milk, you need the calcium from the yogurt and from the cheese. But guess what that calcium does? And all the animal protein, it sucks the calcium out of your bones because it's too acidic for the human body. So the dairy industry and the meat industry is a perfect weapon to make everybody sick. So again, it's for health, it's for the environment, it's for the animals, it's to stop the suffering of Mother Earth, it's to raise above suffering, it's to raise above killing, it's to honor and give liberty to all beings on Earth. And so this is a key here. Many children have been desensitized. Our children were. We were responsible for desensitizing our children. And so at 5 years old and at 7 years old, we showed them the videos, which is called DARY is Scary by ERIN, JANUS, and another couple here and there, because they were ready and they really wanted to know okay, so what is really going on with how they make cheese? Where does the milk come from? How are the animals treated, etc.? And we'd also want to say to you that, you know, 2.5 years ago when we went vegan, we had a freezer full of organic, you know, farm grass-fed, ethical farming,
local
animal meat. We just ordered it and we watched these videos because we were just ready and we couldn't eat the meat. It was instant.
Yeah.
It was instant, and so we gave that away. Don't have any excuses there that, oh, I'll just do this. Just otherwise you fall back into and become a flexitarian. So we resensitized ourselves, which is harder because we've all had many, many more years.
Yeah.
And we suggest quite intensely that if your children don't agree with you, if you choose to go vegan because you've watched the horror, and we really suggest you watching the horror, and I have to I watched them all again for you guys because I'm like, if I'm asking them to watch this, I'm going to watch them all again, right? And the intense ones, which are lower in the list, please watch them through and just use EFT tapping or whatever so that it really solidifies your decision. Because if you're just up here with your decision, yep, I'm going to do it, I don't want to watch anymore, really solidify it. And we suggest that with your kids as well. It's very important. If you have kids that don't agree with you or partners that don't agree with you, resensitize everybody. And you know, we're all about not traumatizing children, right? Allowing them to have a healthy childhood. It may upset them, they may have nightmares, they may go through, you know, trauma. However, it's your responsibility to align them with the truth of the reality that all beings on earth deserve freedom and free will.
Yep.
And so to resensitize them with love, but with truth. And so it may be difficult for some, but you know, especially if you have older kids, you know, 10 and up, or teenagers that are like, stop that, I love my chicken legs. You know, if you're the cook and if you're the one that shops, then get strict, because it's an animal that's on there. It's an animal that's on the plate. And if you're enabling that behavior when you've already decided for yourself, you are supporting your children. You are responsible for your children creating more karma there. And so we suggest very intensely to resensitize yourself, resensitize your children and your partner in all of this, because it's a key to creating your whole life to be in a holistic, harmonious. Just you doing it is going to create disharmony within this, especially if you are a part of cooking and buying it. And so you wanted to share this?
Yeah, you know, we want to go into the beliefs as well, because there'll be a group of you that are like, well, I am up to here with the emotional themes that I'm dealing with, the spiritual themes, the mental themes of my life. I got to bring in money, I got to go to work, my partner has to go to work, I got to get my kids to school. I don't have time for yet another thing, but we're here to tell you this can move right onto the top of the list, because it's probably one of the few areas in your life where you're still creating karma. In all the other areas, you're working through your karma and doing all this spiritual work, but you had no idea that this is what was happening. The reason is you still believed, maybe, most likely, that you need these animal proteins, or that it's okay, that it's not too bad. And maybe some of you are eating less meat, or have skipped red meat and are just doing fish, or are doing vegetarian, or just doing cheese and eggs. The thing is, like Opheana said before, those industries actually make the animals slaves for 1 or 2 years. And then they get slaughtered. I mean, there's so many facts to be shared. However, we're here to say the vegetarian step in between being an omnivore or a meat eater to vegan is a step that actually is probably worse for the animals than if you make a step straight to vegan. And we're not the only ones. These documentaries will help you. Now, we're going to go through beliefs just a little bit later. Now, just owe it to yourself to sit through this video. Don't turn it off into the I'll do that later basket. Please don't. We ask you why, because it's very important information. And we're not here to preach to you. We're doing this because this is what our guidance is, which means this is what you need. Because our presences are working together. If you're tuning into our channel, this is the frequency you're after, because you want to better your life. You want to create this, you know, this new earth, heaven on earth, amazing life where we all get to be connected to the multi-dimensional realm. Well, what do you think that other multi-dimensional beings think of this type of veiled behavior? It's not on, because all species are equal, all life is equal, and that's not how we have been trained due to being veiled. Yes. That being said, this is the order we would advise the journey you go on to educate yourself to the fullest extent you need. It's not going to take you a lot of time, and there's no need to wait until you've seen it all to make your decision. You can do that pretty quickly. And the very first one we would advise for you to watch is on Netflix in pretty much all countries. We know it definitely in Australia and the UK and in the US. And that is a documentary called COWSPIRACY.
Yeah, and probably just you can buy it online, or
for a couple of dollars, get it online, or
yeah,
find on whatever you want to do. COWSPIRACY is a really pretty gentle way of learning more about large animal industry, especially cows and the big business connected to it, big agriculture and all that type of stuff. It'll really get you in to a flow. We've presented these to you in a way as guided, so you don't start off with the hardcore, intense, horrific ones that have visual graphics in them, which you were also advised to sit through. Why? Because when you buy your meat or your cheese, you are ordering for this to happen.
The kill shot, you're ordering it.
You may be like, but that has nothing to do with me. If you don't buy it, it's not going to be happening. Then that cow will not be impregnated.
Yeah, I'd like to add a belief right there, but someone else will buy it. However, the more of us that choose not to buy, the less of it, and that has been shown over the years. Less and less dairy and meat are being created to a certain extent because of the vegan movement.
But it's about owning that it is you who is giving the kill shot. It is you who is causing the slavery by buying these products. And you may be like, oh no, I'm just having a little bit of cheese. In fact, I have a cow in my backyard which gives us our milk. But was that milk for you in the first place? No, it was for her calf.
Did this cow choose this?
So, and the same with your eggs. You're getting eggs, and we have done it. We've had chickens. We had 20 chickens, so we understand. The chickens, that it means that half of the chickens are automatically leave this earth if they're male. That life is immediately wasted. You may never have thought about that. And also the eggs coming through, natural is, for instance, around 15 eggs a year. These chickens can lay up to 300 eggs because they've been bred that way.
It's very painful.
It is not healthy for them. It is very painful. So without going into too many of those details, we'll let the documentaries do that, because we've been guided that is not our role. When you look at all the evidence, there's no holes in this whole vegan storyline. There's no holes in lifting up this layer of truth. The only thing that matters is what choice do we make to move out of our karma and to realign with what is healthier for our bodies.
Yeah, I'd just like to add, just before we move on with more of the movies, what happens, the reason why we are being so intense with just watching all of these shows, is because we see it as a journey up the consciousness sort of levels, and the vegan decision closes a door and locks it. These images, the information, the truth that is happening behind closed doors, and it's not just in a packet at the shop, the actual truth of what goes on for years. So you may have a glass of milk or some cheese, or when you go, I only have cheese at restaurants. That's probably some of the worst cheese from the worst dairies on the planet. When you see the reality of what goes on, the decision is made, the key has turned, and it is locked. We would never go back. I was vegetarian for a number of years in my 20s. My daughter, she was 3, and she says, "What is this?" And it was lamb, and she's like, "Lamb? It's an animal." And so, you know, we went we went vegetarian, and I really felt we were doing the right thing, you know. And she would go and visit her other parent and come home after having sausages, would have nightmares that night because the frequency was so bad. She could feel the pain of the animal, extreme high level empath. And what happened? I fell back into eating meat again because the heavy duty programs of needing protein, of, you know, so many things. And so educate yourself to the max.
Yes.
Get deep in there. And then let me tell you, because, you know, sensitive right here, get out. Get deep in there, know everything that goes on so you can make a clean decision. Do not have any more veils or illusions to stay in denial, because you can shut the door and you can lock the key and you won't touch anything again, because you will know that you are doing the right thing, and it will be easy, because some people say it's so hard. It's hard because of, you know, convenience. Now is one of the easiest times you could possibly go vegan.
Times.
And let me tell you, if you just eat rice only, you will get enough protein. You would have to absolutely starve yourself. I mean, I didn't eat for 3 weeks and I was getting protein. Why? Because it was cosmic, baby. Cosmic, using universal protein. It's all there. However, you can get protein from all the plants. We don't need animal protein. It makes us very sick. You get off animal protein, you'll stop having heart attacks, all your blood vessels will clean up, you will raise in consciousness, you will have more clarity, you'll stop having lethargic sleeps, you'll wake up in the morning fresh without negative thoughts. There's so many good things. But the other thing I'd like to add with this, I know we're flowing away from it.
No, it's good. There's so much to come through. It's good.
Is just make the time to look up some recipes or to investigate. Okay, I just want my basic taste. I'll make a commitment to this. I'll do something easy. For the first 2 weeks, I'll do this. You know, support yourself, whatever it is. You know, we knew someone who just ate hot chips because they just didn't know what else to eat. It's fine, you'll survive. At least you're not killing anymore. And you know, Gary YOUROFSKY, who we really recommend you watch his speech.
Come up in the list.
He's amazing. And so he ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches
for weeks and weeks after he transitioned.
Because it's like, I'm not going to kill another animal just because I don't know what to eat. You know, just have vegetables, buy some packeted stuff. We don't care if it's artificial crap for this situation.
Eat everything that you love eating that has no animal products. Eat potato chips and hot chips
just
and
not
peanut butter and jelly and rice and
no
with
milk
vegetables.
powder.
No milk powder, none of that type of stuff, and no honey either.
Yes.
And so
honey is killing the bees on Earth. We need the bees.
The transition, you know, for you and your family, because we realize one of the main things would be, but I'm also responsible for my kids and husband. Yeah, you are.
Yes.
Yes, you are. And so it's too hard for me. I'll just wait until they're a little bit further. No, because you're racking up karma. They're racking up karma. You're killing animals. You're causing a lot of suffering and you're not even aware of it. So that's the worst kind, where you're unconscious of it, but you're conscious of it now and you've always felt something. It is super easy to make super yummy food without all these products, and you're going to be healthier for it. You just got to go on that journey. Just like your spiritual journey hasn't always been easy. You've had to tap through emotions, you've had to work through mind games and beliefs and people who don't get you anymore and think you're weird, that you know, travel in meditations with Sanat Kumara to Shambhala. You're a weirdo! Okay, you've been through all of that. This is no different. You're going to be unique in this to a degree, but there's so many more people coming through with that. And those joining in New Earth, they're all going to have this profile. Why? Because killing and suffering and slaughterhouses, it ain't going to be happening. Slavery and it's just not going to be happening, guys. Have a think about it. Is that the frequency of high frequency beings? No. And this is why we're so intense in this video. And you already know we're intense. You're used to us being intense. But today we're very truthful about this one, because this is a high level truth. This is probably the #1 thing you can do to raise your own consciousness. Better than all the meditations and all this type of stuff. Yes. And you're going to help Mother Gaia with her ascension, and all humans and everything. I mean, the idea, the sheer numbers, that is too much to even fathom. A year, 60 billion animals, land animals and more, and 90 billion marine animals plus. That was maybe 5 years ago, are being killed. 150 billion animals to feed 7.5 billion humans.
In 3 days,
it's
guys,
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
In
Absolutely
3
ridiculous.
days, the amount of animals that are killed on this earth and in the waters.
Every 3 days.
Every 3 days.
1, 2, 3.
Is the same amount of all humans across all time on planet Earth that have died in a war. Every 3 days, that's how many animals are slaughtered for taste on a plate that we do not need.
Yeah.
We don't need it. Every 3 days, the amount of humans that are apparently the species of all species on this earth that have the right to do whatever they want with other animals. Every 3 days, that's how many animals are killed on this planet. And I'd just like to add as well,
We're
you
gonna be
know,
adding a
the
lot.
the forests that are being wiped out. It's because of meat. It's because of agriculture.
It's because of what needs to be
feed the
fed.
animals.
Yeah.
And guess what else? There are millions. I mean, of people that are starving. And if we stopped eating meat, we would have beyond the amount of food. So think about it. This is not higher consciousness. And I'm just going to keep talking just a little bit.
It doesn't matter because it's good. It's fantastic.
There is a series out there called natureisspeaking.org as well. And I mean, this is a softer series, but they say nature doesn't need people. People need nature. If we take all of us humans off Earth, right? The earth will heal itself and thrive. If you take bees off, not good. If you take ants off,
everything dies.
Not good. If you take a species out, there's an imbalance. If you take humans, warring, killing, raping, hating, cynical. I know. We don't want to get into the nitty-gritty too much because we want to come from up here, but I just want to make that point. We're not a higher species. We're the ones that are doing the damage. Don't be one of the ones anymore. Don't be one of the ones.
Because you're not here. You're here to create this new earth. So this is why it all ties together. This is why it's coming through us to you in this video. So we're going to get into more beliefs later as to why it might be hard for you. But just because it's hard for you doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. So the first one is COWSPIRACY.
Yep.
Very cool documentary. Goes into the big agro business and meat and stuff like that. The second documentary we advise, also on Netflix all across the globe, is Forks Over Knives. Goes into more the health benefits and not needing animal protein, that it's causing all the leading diseases, and that plant protein is the way to go. Okay, nice and chill so far. The third one is when it gets a little bit more intense.
Love it.
Which is a guy who's actually an activist, an animal activist, a vegan activist known as YOUROFSKY. He's no longer active because he did it for 20 years and got kind of burned out. His speech is the best speech ever, and it's from 2010, and we're going to link all this stuff down below so you're going to have everything available for you. Watch that. He covers the whole spectrum of everything that he's come across in doing so many lectures.
Yeah.
Beautiful energy, and he makes it all very normal because it is very normal. This stuff may seem like still a bit fringe and not a lot of people are doing it, but it's not right because you guys are of higher consciousness, so a lot of you are already doing it.
Yeah.
And a lot of you, all of you, should be considering this because who wants to create karma anymore, especially if you weren't really realizing that you were doing it? Certainly not out of convenience because your family needs to be fed and you guys just eat dairy and animal products. That's just kind of how it is. Or out of taste, you just love bacon and cheese, you know. You can't really imagine not having your cheese, you know, at the cafe on Saturday and your bacon every Sunday morning because you just love it. Well, you need to know what's behind that and that you're the one actually ordering the kill shot every time. And another one on dairy that the team is saying to mention, which was an absolute shocker, that 90% of the hamburger meat, I believe this is in the US, but it's probably worldwide, comes from dairy cows.
Dairy cows.
Dairy cows. So that goes to show how
cheese,
veganism,
yogurt,
vegetarianism with dairy and milk and eggs and cheese is not an animal-friendly industry. In fact, it's probably the worst. That's what most people who know a lot more than we do about
lollies
it
are cows'
agree
feet,
about
cow
that.
hooves. You know, like there's so many things. A lot of you would know this, but it's very important to get all the facts and then rise above. Lock that door.
And stay with us. Stay with us. Don't turn the video off yet. Stay with us, because you owe it to yourself to know these truths so you can action it from a place of consciousness. Just like when something bubbles up, self-hate bubbles up in you and you don't know why, you address it, don't you? Because that's the path you're on. Well, this is one of those. This is a big thing we're handing to you. You can move through it quickly, make the choice, and you're going to feel amazing about it. Is it going to be a bit challenging? Work through some social stuff, a bit emotional, a bit mental? Maybe. Physical body maybe wants some of that food. Well, you can have that food on the other side, because it's all available. Same taste, but plant-based.
Flavor,
everything you want.
You know, as Maya Angelou says, when you know better, you do better. We couldn't know and not do better. We just couldn't. And we ask that of all of you as well, you know. Once you know better, please just do better. Don't put this is not one of the ones that can be put off until you have more time. Change your life to have the time to do it.
Because guess what? This is, honestly, with yourself, whether you're 20 or whether you're 70 watching this.
15.
You've been busy for decades. It's not going to change. You're always going to be busy. This is one of the ones to put right to the top of the list, to make some time and action it.
Yes.
No matter how that means in the beginning that you'll have to adjust some things. The analogy the team gives is, imagine you're in a business partnership, have been for years with your business partner, and then you find out that your business partner has been making profits for your company by child trafficking in Asia. You would go ballistic. You would immediately cut that off. You would seal and lock the door. We're talking this type of stuff, guys. Killing and suffering. We're talking all atrocities at the lowest level of the ascension consciousness scale, which you are agreeing to every time you purchase these products. And many of you may sort of know that, but this is the connect that's being made by Spirit. Now is the time for this. This is a call to action. This is not merely an informative video. And it may be a little bit intense, but we follow our guidance. As you know, you may have been following us for a few years now, or a few months, or a few weeks, but you know we're intense. We deliver truth, but it's of high frequency, and we're creating together with you guys the new earth.
And we've been deeply guided to the
very deeply guided.
You know, this message wouldn't have come through from our personal choice, because we thought, you know, the whole vegan movement, others have that mastery. It's not our thing. However, the teams are so intense about it. They like, it is time now. Yeah. Because if you look at the amount of suffering that is happening on Earth, keeping the consciousness low in high density starseeds, because there's these veils and illusions, and as Gary YouROFSKY says, blinders. No, it's fine. I got happy cows, I got happy chickens. They're slaves, people. They're slaves. So it's key now to really know better, do better.
Yeah, and then deal with the flow after that, because there's going to be positives and some negatives to work through, some adjustments, but guess what? It's much easier than you think. And now, rather than 10 years ago, so much easier. I mean, so much easier. The
recipes out there, if you do enjoy cooking, baking, aquafaba, by the way, brilliant. Sprout your chickpeas, cook them up, use the water.
But Opheana, I don't have time for all that. Let's get into that in a moment. I want to just complete this.
No, I just want to add this, because I know the bakers out there that make yummy things are freaking out about eggs, right? Aquafaba makes egg white. Just look it up.
You can make meringues.
You can make anything these days. Anything that is out there, the taste, you can make it. And eventually you're just going to simplify things anyway as you move up your consciousness. So enjoy the process. Keep it simple, as we always say in the beginning. Okay, go on.
When you're going to say this to your family, that this is the move you're going to be making, you could say, look, for the first 4 weeks, we're just going to have lots of delicious food. Whatever you guys want. As long as there's no meat in it, no eggs, no dairy. Whatever you want. Lots of hot chips. We're going to have lots of vegan pizzas. We're going to have sorbets. We're going to have potato chips, fried food.
Purified food with no mayonnaise.
And that's not what you stay with, but it's a nice transition through until everybody settles in. Because everybody's got to settle in.
Yep.
Okay, back to this list. We've seen COWSPIRACY, Forks Over Knives. Number 3 is Gary YouROFSKY's best speech ever. Then we go to number 4, which are 2 shorter YouTube videos by ERIN, JANUS.
Amazing.
Amazing. The first one is DARY, scary, 5 minutes only. The next one is What's wrong with eggs?
Great for kids, these ones.
21 minutes. These are the ones to desensitize your kids. They have graphic images, but they are to the point, and this is the reality behind a chicken nugget, behind a chicken leg, behind eggs, anything like that. And milk and your cheeses and everything, super, super good, super important.
Just to add with the kids, if your kids aren't desensitized and they're sweet little beautiful buttons that are like, yeah, I don't want to hurt any animals, I want to go vegan straight up, but they want to know a little bit. There's a woman on YouTube and she's got a channel called Bite Size Vegan. She has great kids videos that are a bit more sensitive to, you know, their needs and their ability to take the intensity in. It's for the kids that really want to know and that need it to resensitize.
Yeah, like you might have teenagers that are just like, oh, whatever, I just want my hamburger, or I just want my pepperoni pizza. And these are the ones that, these short videos, because they don't have maybe a long attention span, these ones will hit home hard, and it is needed, absolutely needed, because they're creating the karma as well. You all are as a family.
Well, for some teenagers it won't hit hard, and that's where the next ones come in.
The next ones are the big ones on the list. These are the hardcore graphic ones.
This is where you tap the whole time
you
watch,
if you
need to.
But keep your eyes open and sit through the emotions of it, the intensity of it, what humans do to animals, killing and suffering. The first one is from 2005 called Earthlings. Earthlings. The next one is from 2018, just recent, from the same makers, called Dominion. And they have different tones. Earthlings is a big emotional ride, and Dominion is more a
sort of monotone, but very informative, and it's just the absolute truth and reality. Exactly. And it's actually based in Australia. It's just it's shocking where we are in the world that stuff still happens. Yeah. I did look away a couple of times within the Earthlings and Dominions this time, because I get to, just like I don't need to watch what happens to kids in show. I can guess some of those things, but because I've locked the door, I get to do that. If you haven't locked the door yet, make sure you keep your eyes open and you watch until you're ready to fully lock that door. That's what we suggest. Because
the honesty and the higher level truth of it is, if you're still buying these products, you are causing that pain. It's very important to reconnect those two, because it is the karma that awaits you to be dealt with. Yeah. And nothing to feel guilty about straight away, but you will be probably moving through some guilt.
I had a couple of years ago when we did go vegan, I had 3 weeks of physical and emotional release, because the guilt, I mean, you know, we were aware of it, but we allowed ourselves to be in denial. We were making choices for ethical, and we saw them, they were happy, blah, blah, blah. There's all this propaganda of, you know, happy animals that are going to be slaughtered. It's not the truth. And so I went through a lot of guilt, because I don't want to cause any karma or pain for any other beings. The opposite, the reason why I'm here is the opposite of that, and that's the reason why you are here too, to lift from that reality into a reality of joy, of bliss, of love, of fourth density loving and harmony together. So really allow for a little bit of a process afterwards. It's okay, you know, ignorance was bliss, but it's not anymore. It's important to not be ignorant to any of it, to have truth on all levels in your life, especially when it comes to pleasure. Yeah. Don't make pleasure more valuable than these beings' lives, you know, these beings' lives. And I just want to add a little tiny point is, well, it's quite big actually. We're going to be living on New Earth with non-terrestrial beings. They're going to be coming here to assist us to ascend. Yeah. We're going to be having all sorts of beings that are going to look, some of them are going to look similar to the animal species we have on Earth here. It's going to just throw us off if people are eating beings that we're communicating and talking with. And so really think about that too, that they have a brain, they have emotions, they have a nervous system, and they want to live and they want to thrive and they want to have their babies and they want to nurture and they want to love. It's the same as your beautiful dog that looks you in the eyes and has this high frequency connection. It's the same with every single one of these animals, no matter what kind of connection you've had. with a bird or a fish, they still have that desire to be free and to choose their own reality.
Yeah. And if it was the case that the human body, this vessel, absolutely 100% needed the animal protein, it would be a different discussion. But it's 100% not the case, which means we don't need to do it. We have a super amount of options in the plant proteins, and so there is no reason to connect it up anymore. We've moved past that, so we're not coming from changing an old world. We're creating a new one with these, you know, guiding principles, and one of them is no more killing and no more suffering.
Yeah.
It's really time, and we can do that very easily, guys, and very easy. It's going to be so much easier, and you're going to feel amazing by this. So very, very good that you're moving through this with us, because it's a big one. We get it. And for those of you guys that are already vegan, you know how amazing it is. So you'll help to hold this energy as well. The seventh one and the final one on the list is a very fun mockumentary, but very honest as well. It's known as Carnage, excuse me, Swallowing the Past. Carnage, yeah. Swallowing the Past, from 2017. And it goes on to present a world 50 years from now where the world is fully vegan, and works its way back to the past when we started consuming a lot of meat, you know, after the war years. And it's very light, and there's fiction in it and facts all woven together, and it's beautiful to watch. You can just get that in different ways online by searching it. You can rent it or buy it or whatever. So worth the watch as well. So, you know, these
keep playing it towards the last quarter is the key, but you need to watch it all the way through. It's an interesting way they've played it, very creative.
It's fantastic and beautiful, and it really gets in there in a positive way. So, you know, we'll have all these linked. You got your COWSPIRACY, Forks Over Knives, The Speech, 2 little videos by ERIN, JANUS. Then you got your 2 intense ones, Earthlings and Dominion. Don't skip those. And the last one is that Carnage. Now, if you know about the agro industry and all that stuff, but you just need to be informed of the hardcore stuff.
Just go straight Earthlings.
You can go straight to, or Gary YOUROFSKY's speech is beautiful, and ERIN, because all of that has graphic material in it.
Everyone, please watch Gary YOUROFSKY's speech.
It's about an hour, and it's got every element of it. You know, and we're putting in some websites as well, which we feel sort of rise above the others in clean, easy ways to understand and
Mike the Vegan is a YouTuber that's amazing with details. He'll help you with all the nutrition stuff. If you have any
nutritional stuff,
Amazing. I mean, there's just so much support out there for vegans, because this is a movement that is not going to stop. Just like slavery was abolished, just like women are finding their equality, just like you know, so many things over the times. This is one of the big ones that's going to make the shift to New Earth. And the reason why we were a bit intense with the subject, you won't be a part of New Earth, because think about it. Who is going to go to the slaughterhouse? Who's going to do the killing? I mean, most of the people that are in these slaughterhouses that are killing are either just of such low consciousness that they're a little bit evil, or they're extremely traumatized people that either couldn't get another job, or they just landed in it and it's just traumatized them and they have PTSD because it's so horrific there. So it's not going to be on New Earth. So if you're eating meat or animal secretions, you're not going to be on New Earth. You just won't. And so therefore we know you're going to be there. So this is a step you can take now to really lift this consciousness up, because think about it. It lifts it all up. It takes away heavy duty programming, limiting beliefs. You know, the 4 main reasons why people eat animals is for taste, for habit, for tradition or culture, and then for convenience. And so please don't allow any of those reasons anymore to support the killing and suffering of other beings. They are not below us, they are equal to us. Or to be honest, if you were to look at humans and other beings on this earth, they're just doing their thing. We're the ones killing and raping and creating suffering on this earth. We're the ones that are responsible. So we're moving to New Earth, so let's not take any of that with us.
So some reasons why all of this might be challenging. Well, one of the ones might be time. You might be right in the middle of a 3-month project where you're just starting up your new business. You got websites running, you got a team to build, your kids are busy with your teams are, you know, your kids are busy with all sorts of tests and this and preparing for whatever, and your partner's busy at work. That's always going to be the case. And so putting it in the later basket only means you're racking up more and more karma. And if, which I can't imagine you're not interested in that because you work so hard on the other spiritual side to lift all that stuff, it's not going to go away, because Spirit is going to be talking to you. This is Spirit talking to you. This is not us talking to you. This is your Spirit and your teams talking to you, because you clicked watch this link. You're a part of this channel. You're watching this information because it's of resonant frequency. So this is a message from your Spirit on your doorstep to you right now, not to be actioned in 3 months, not to be actioned, you know, maybe halfway through the year when the busy season is over. You'll have a month to look at all of this information, because you only need to watch.
Or I'll just give up red meat.
Yeah, or I'll just start slowly. This is not transitional, guys. Really, it isn't. It isn't about, I'll do start with red meat, and then I'll do some fish, and then I'll look into dairy.
Kind of
that's kind of gone, because it still inflicts just as much damage. Because if you're not eating your red meat, you'll eat a bit more fish, and if you're not eating red meat and fish, you'll eat a bit more cheese. So you're inflicting just as much damage and killing and suffering, and you're the one buying it. So you're the one doing the killing and suffering, not the person in the slaughterhouse. Because if you're not paying it, if nobody is, that slaughterhouse is closed down. That person gets a different job. And so the understanding that now's the time. Watch one of the documentaries, watch one of the ERIN JANUS clips to get you started, make the decision. And then the next one which comes up is, how do I deal with my partner who's just loves meat? How do I deal with my kids who are just totally addicted to all of that type of stuff? Well, like we said before, you got to resensitize them, and you're the one maybe that buys in the groceries. So you're the one that starts making the change, and work with foods that everybody loves but that are either vegan or that people in your family love as a transitional food, and then start working your way into finding your balance. But just be strict with yourself, and really watch out for things like the honeys and the milk powders and all that type of stuff, because
just do agave for a start, or maple syrup or something else.
Or we use organic stevia powder. Make sure it's organic for your sweetener. So there's a lot of options out there, but you just got to choose it, and not be too afraid of the journey, and not wait until your family's ready, because that may take years, and it's really not where it's at. As you know, we say it all the time, when spirit guides change, change is now. So this is again an action video.
Yes.
You know, and if it's something that you really don't want to hear, or really honestly don't want to hear, and you want to stay hidden under that veil, then maybe that's a choice you need to make. But most of you want to be part of this new earth and are part of raising your consciousness, ever raising your consciousness. And then this is a massive step to take now.
Yes, beautiful. So some of the other beliefs that people have are, well, socially, it just creates issues, because, you know, my whole family just eats meat. You know, you live at home or you visit home a lot, and they just all eat meat. They're going to judge me. They're going to be like, oh, you know, you'll get skinny and you won't have enough protein, and they'll just give me a hard time, so I'll just eat it when I'm with them. It's another animal killed. And so be brave, be truly who you are. If you make this decision, shut that door and lock it. You'll find the way. Go move through the challenges. Who cares if your family is upset with you? Who cares if it hurts you in that moment? That animal dies because you don't want to be upset? No, it's not good enough anymore for any of us to be in denial. None of us have the right to have a convenience excuse. None of us have the right. It's not convenient for the animal to be slaughtered and to create suffering and to lower the entire frequency of, you know, the collective. There is no excuses anymore. It's zero tolerance in this area from the teams. It's like, seriously, people, they're pounding us. Come on,
for weeks, months,
please.
months.
Lock the door. There is a way through everything. Mike the Vegan's here. He's brilliant. He's hilarious. He's got lots of ways of answering questions. What's that? What's that website that has great answers?
Oh,
we'll put it in the link.
Yeah, it's called Your Vegan Fallacy has the top 30 questions and answers is why people say, well, this is why I'm not. This is why I'm not vegan. This is a reason not to be a new earth vegan.
All of those things are on there. There's answers everywhere. The internet's full of anything. Just type anything in to support yourself. Just eat anything else. Eat the salad at the table. Eat
rice, hot chips, vegetables, fruits.
Eat the sauce on the table. Just eat anything but the meat on the table.
You want. There's so much fried food. If you love fried food, there's so much fried food that is vegan fried food that tastes like meat.
There's vegan, just
vegan cheeses. They taste really good.
Seriously,
we tried them.
Just do it. I mean, our diet is extremely simplified. But we want to tell you that at this point in time, there's just so much availability out there. Some people, one of the things is it's so expensive. It doesn't have to be. You just need to, again, be creative and spend a bit of time. But I don't have time. We'll make the time, change your life so you have more time. If you don't have time to be conscious of what's going in your body, something's up with your life, okay? And so that's another consciousness shift. This is all a consciousness shift. And this is another reminder as well, is to have enough time and space in your life to really drop and then drop and then drop into the consciousness of what this really means. What does this really mean? What really goes on here? What are the spiritual teams out there pouring through in the field at the moment? Listen and make the changes necessary. Yeah,
and don't let any of it, I mean, definitely don't let time be the reason. Don't let other people in your life be the reason. Don't let, I've got so much on my plate already, be the reason. Because you can still do the same things while you transition. Just decide, lock the door, and then eat whatever you want for a while until you figure it out. It's okay. It's like that business partner. Remember, you've just found out he's made profit for your business with child trafficking in Asia. It's done, isn't it? It's done.
You don't go back to that.
You don't go back on Monday morning and say, hey, how are you doing, John? What's going on? No, it's done.
Over now.
Now that you've found out killing, suffering of another species, whether it's an ET species or an Earth species, it doesn't matter. Life is more valuable than taste. Life is more valuable than habit. Life is more valuable than tradition. Life is more valuable than convenience.
Pleasure.
And so, it's time. This is an action video. So work your way through these documentaries, but when you're ready, you can do it in the first 5 minutes. Okay, that's it, I'm done. I already knew it was coming for me.
It can be,
and it's an awesome journey. Make it an awesome journey where you're going to raise in consciousness.
Count the animals you're saving. We counted every day that you're a vegan, you save another animal as one human being. I know that sounds like so much, but a lot of the animals are wasted. They're wasted. And so, in the first 6 to 12 months when we became vegan, 6 of us, 6 people every day saving 6 animals. Count the animals if it helps you. And I also just really want to confirm as well, get into this stuff to really find out the truth and then raise above again. Don't get stuck down here and, unless it's really one of your roles to be in there doing some extreme activity and, letting animals out of their cages and doing all that. I mean, to be honest, I see even horses in paddocks and I'm like, oh, they're wild, they want to be free. I just want to open the gates. It's not my role. And so basically what I'm saying is don't stay stuck in the negativity because it's really negative. It's like watching, the children trafficking or other slavery.
Horror movies all day long. It's really not what you want to be doing.
You don't want it in there anymore, but you do want it. You do need it to make the decision to lock that door. If you can't lock that door, keep watching the horror until you can lock that door.
Yeah, and if you have to tap your way through missing the certain tastes, do it. In the meanwhile, replace tastes that taste 95% the same. You're good. move through that. Get your vegan cheese, get a vegan burger.
I don't care if you get fat, just don't hurt animals.
Better to do that in a transitional phase.
You'll be fine.
And then you'll move through that. Now,
you'll probably lose weight, let me tell you.
And another thing that the teams are very clear with us, you know, in the comments below, because we're going to get a lot of comments on this video. It's not our role to debate, but what about this? But what about that? But what about that? That's why we've given you these resources, so we won't be debating with anyone. The case is closed. The case is sealed. It's closed. It has no open wormholes for discussion. It is done. You can do your research on all the websites and all the documentaries. So we want to hear how you go. We want to hear your journey.
Love to hear when you decide.
That's fantastic, but we won't be going into, but what about plants? They feel, well, just that quick one is, there's less plants that die if everybody eats vegan and if everybody eats animal agriculture, but we're not going to go into those type of details. Why? It's not our role. We're very clearly guided. Our role is to share this information now with you guys, so you can come into this new earth with that clean conscious and a new way of life, because it's not going to be around anymore. It's not going to be an availability, or else you just can't make it through to that consciousness level. It's the reality. So it's one of the #1 things you can do to raise your consciousness, to help Mother Gaia, help humanity, and populate New Earth.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Yes, absolutely. It's very, very beautiful. So guys, there's so much more information out there that you can search and find your favorite YouTubers to support you through it. There's a lot of Facebook groups that have recipes. There's heaps of junk food out there if you want or need to go down that way for a while, you know, like just if you're into like the fried foods and all of that, just get, you know, do what you need to do for a while to transfer over. I mean, preferably, of course, healthy to keep your frequency up, but your frequency will be better anyway just by not having the meat. But always checking the ingredients, because that's where there can be tricks where you're like, oh my goodness, or even, you know, goat's milk soap or all of that stuff. Just start dropping a little bit deeper. If you feel overwhelmed, tap it out. If you feel overwhelmed, deal with it. You know, this is important now. It's hitting hard. We can feel it running through, you know, all you know, throughout the frequencies, just pulsing planet Earth to make this shift now so that we can raise up to that next level. So join us, let's do this, and let us know the moment you lock that door, if you haven't already locked it. We figured out there's about 12% of you that are already vegans, which is lovely. And so just make the shift that you need to make, and make it a joyful shift in that you're loving more beings, you're embracing more beings, and we're going to live a very harmonious life. Your beingness within your field will be more loving, because you won't be taking in pain that's within these substances.
Absolutely.
So it's a consciousness shift. It's not a diet shift, it's a consciousness shift. Keep it simple as you can. If it's difficult for you, simplify again. Whatever you need to do, you know, we just really pulse you to make it happen and lock that door. Really look deeply into yourself and educate yourself and your family, and be really tough on your family. So I'm not cooking meat, it's flesh from a dead animal that has suffered, and I'm just not going to do that.
So I won't be doing it. You have the choice to eat what I make, or you make it yourself. Those are options you have. You know, set a clear boundary. You're stepping up from old timelines, you're stepping into new timelines. Now is the time, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, staying with us through this. It was a big intense one. Call to action, so many blessings. Comment below, and again, not about questions around excuses, just about how your journey goes. Okay, thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you next time.
We love you guys.
Love you. Many blessings.
Thank you.
Thank you.